Brown, to the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our brother Ralph Gonsalves, our brother Minister of Foreign Affairs of Grenada, Joseph Andal, our brother of Minister of Foreign Affairs of St. Lucia, Alba Baptiste, the ambassador of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Norgan Wilson, the brother president of the board of directors of Alba Bank, Raul Licausi, the brother of the executive secretary of ALBA-TCP, Jorge Arreaza. So I would like to begin with, brothers and sisters, by thanking the General Secretary of ALBA-TCP, Brother Jorge Arreaza, for convening this extraordinary summit of our alliance, and to thank all of you for being present here today in order to address the failed coup d'etat that occurred in Bolivia and the latent threat of destabilization and the rupture of the constitutional status of our countries. We felt the solidarity of the brothers and sisters of the Alliance, and we thank your communique in support of our country, as well as the constant support. In 2020, the organized struggle of our people guaranteed the recovery of democracy after 1 year of de facto government and the return to a government with a huge triumph in the ballot box of 55% of the voters. This is the origin of the mandate of the binomium of Choquehuanca and Arce. The people gives us the legitimacy of our mandate. The people we should be accountable. So after the recovery of democracy and despite the sabotage, we have been able to have progress in many areas. We overcame the pandemic, and a year later, we recovered growth and stability, and we started to control inflation properly. In November of this year, we will be governing for 4 years. During this period, the conservative nationalist forces and the traditional right have tried tirelessly to break our unity with hate speech, polarization, and planting uncertainty and fear in Bolivia. Over the last months, we have seen the radicalization of economic sabotage maneuvers, roadblocks, and actions oriented to create convulsion and to shorten our democratic mandate. Political actors of the right and the Plurinational Legislative Assembly and the nationalist conservative faction, implementing a well-known agreement, have acted in a concerted fashion, blocking all the legislative initiatives, especially those related to economic and social projects against the interests of the Bolivian people. These actions are the result of an external interest agenda concerning our natural resources, especially the lithium. And it's been uttered very openly by the Laura Richardson of the Southern Command. The national international right, they dislike that our countries decide in a sovereign fashion their political path the economic model and the control of the resources. Today, therefore, the events that occurred on June the 25th, Mr. Army General Juan Zúñiga, self-proclaimed the General of the People, issued a number of comments, an anti-constitutional statement, and I decided to relieve him from his position. On 25th of June, the Minister of the Presidency informed him our determination to replace him. And on 26th of June, General Zúñiga gathered the military forces in the afternoon, and he fostered a failed coup d'etat with the participation of the commanders of the three forces, the Army, the Aviation, and the Navy, and the National Guard. This former commander ordered the deployment of soldiers and tanks towards the Murillo Plaza, where the Quemado Palace is situated, and as well as the Casa Grande of the People, which is next to the Quemado Palace. The military coup failed. At that moment, together with Vice President Choquehuanca, we were gathered in Casa Grande of the People, and Zúñiga, in a forced demonstration, tried to storm the palace of government, destroyed the door with a tank. I went down, I spoke to him face to face, I confronted him, and I ordered repeatedly the deployment of these military forces to the three commanders of the Army, the Aviation, and the Navy. They refused, however, to comply with this order. During this action in the plaza, the people spontaneously reacted to defend democracy, and social organizations were already organizing a nationwide blockade with indefinite strike. The military repression to this will was very serious, and 14 people were injured with fire weapons. Zúñiga was apprehended, and then he declared falsehood, trying to be pardoned. There are various people involved, active and non-active military personnel. They have determined to detain many of them based on the law. Brothers and sisters, the Bolivian people has a profound democratic vocation, and it gathered at the Murillo Plaza to defend the democracy and the legitimate government. The Alto city, for instance, next to La Paz, mothers and fathers mobilized to prevent the use of weapons in that city. All around the country, mobilizations took place. Barricades were organized. Meetings, marches, rallies. International community condemned the military attempt, the military coup attempt, showing the solidarity with and the support with democracies. We are profoundly thankful for that. Various army and police units refused to join this coup attempt. And with courage, those who represent our government, we were able to overcome to this difficult moment. And we reaffirmed that as long as we be there, we will never abandon this house of the people, and will never abandon our people in Bolivia. Brothers and sisters of the Alliance, The social media are playing a major role in disseminating false news and the polarization of the political life, promoting fake news through memes and many other means. Disinformation and the orchestrated campaigns trying to erode the trust on the legitimate and constitutional government in Bolivia through the fake news, for instance. The right and conservative nationalism are trying to impose that there was not a coup, but a self-coup. In the same way, they imposed the narrative that it was not a coup, but a fraud, in order to justify the overthrowing of President Morales. In this sense, it is essential to recover the democratic values of the rule of law and to reject fundamentalisms and the caudillos that try to lead us. We reject the narrative that there was no coup. There was no coup in Bolivia. Those who promote this national and international narrative, they represent interest foreign to the interest of the government of the pre-national government of Bolivia and the people, trying to install a fascist government in our hemisphere. We reiterate our thanks to the President for the solidarity, and we call upon you to adopt this communique for democracy and against any attempt of destabilization in my country and any other country of the alliance. ALBA-TCP, today more than ever, must unite to preserve peace in Latin America as the main pillar of development. This and any other coup d'etat attempt should happen without us to react. We could have to react to fascist and any other type of oppression. Only through unity and resistance of our peoples, we will be able to guarantee a better future for all of us. Thank you very much for your attention. Now I would like to give the floor to Miguel Díaz-Canel, President of the sisterly nation of Cuba. Brother Miguel, you have the floor. Dear Brother Luis Arce, we fully share and support your words, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate in this summit of the ALBA-TCP. Dear President Nicolas Maduro, dear Prime Ministers Ralph Gonsalves and Vincent and the Grenadines, Roosevelt Carrot from Dominica, and Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda. Dear representatives of the nations members of our alliance, dear Jorge Arias, Executive Secretary of ALBA-TCP. I would like to start by conveying our solidarity with the sisterly nation of the Caribbean that have suffered lately several effects due to the burial hurricanes. We feel that the material losses, human losses caused by this hurricane. We reiterate that you can always count with the modest support of Cuba, where we are mindful of these blows of nature against this small island and this weak economy. And with this historical decision to support the Cuban people who are working in these countries, they joined immediately to the national effort to assist those who needed help to recover, because it is clear that no problem affecting the region is foreign to us. Brothers, when we knew the first movement of irregular situation of some Bolivian military units, immediately we rejected those actions, and we denounced the situation and gave our support to Brother President Arce. We cannot allow that infamous attitudes and coup actions come back, that created so much pain and try to revert people's will. It is inadmissible to us that they use their weapons to subvert the legitimate order and rule of law. The circumstances that President Arce explained and the reason for this meeting confirmed the need to defend strongly and determination the proclaim of our region as a zone of peace, approved 10 years ago in the second meeting of CELAC in Havana. At this moment, we need to reinforce solidarity faced with the political attacks and division of our societies promoted by the adversaries of unity and Latin American integration and Caribbean integration. The ultra-right use polarization, so through manipulation and deceit, attempt against popular government to hinder the policies of development and the progress attained as a result of decades of struggle of the peoples. If they attain their objectives, there will be no calm, but repression, persecution of social leaders, neoliberalism, the surrendering of our resources to multinationals, new lost decade, and there will be again going backward in our progress. And this progress could be true if we bet on unity. Our peoples know this. That is why there was a spontaneous mobilization that defended President Lucho despite the risk for the lives of these people. A progressive government should defend in the compact unity vis-à-vis the powerful enemies. We need to promote solidarity and cooperation in the region, fulfilling the principles of non-direct intervention in the internal affairs of any other state, but supporting the progressive government when they are aggressed by the traditional oligarchs in collusion with foreign agents and internal agents under the auspices of the empire. It is urgent to reject the coup method that tried to subvert, and they use modern tools of manipulation to halt and make a vote the progressive political actions in our region. We have seen this in Venezuela. We try to generate violence once again, especially now in the context of a new election. It's been confirmed in the constant intromission of the U.S. in the internal affairs of Nicaragua, where still remember that atrocious event of 2018. Only the unity of the peoples, of social organizations, we will be able to overcome successfully the plans of the empire against the sovereignty of our peoples. ALBA-TCP, our alliance, should be and should remain in the first trench of this struggle against the demons of interventionism, neocolonialism, the Monroeist spirit of that 200 years after its formulation continues marking the action of the empires toward our America. To victory forever, we will overcome.
Thank you very much, Brother President of the Republic of Cuba. Now I will give the floor to our brother Gaston Brown, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I acknowledge my colleague heads and certainly all of the other distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express our heartfelt concern and solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the ALBA states, include Venezuela, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and Grenada, on the destruction wrought by Hurricane Beryl, which has left a trail of damages and destruction, including loss of lives within the hemisphere. We continue to stand in solidarity with our sister ALBA colleagues We've been contributing to the relief efforts to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada, and we'll certainly continue to contribute even further from the resources that are available to us. We also want to encourage our brothers and sisters to soldier on and determine optimism to a resilient and prosperous future. Let me also take this opportunity to commend President Maduro and the other organizers for convening this very important meeting to address the attempted coup d'etat in Bolivia, which threatened to undermine the country's democracy and to destabilize the state of Bolivia. And I want to make it clear from the onset that Antigua and Barbuda strongly condemns this attempt to literally destabilize the government or the duly elected government of Bolivia. This is undoubtedly a serious attempt to destabilize the country and at the same time, obviously, to seize power through undemocratic means. Antigua and Barbuda is committed to the principles of ALBA-TCP that speaks to solidarity, cooperation, complementarity, mutual respect for the sovereignty of countries, justice, equity, respect for cultural diversity, and to ensure that we continue to protect our democratic traditions. And certainly adhering to the fundamental guidelines, our region can continue to be a safe place for our children and certainly our grandchildren to live. So we do not want to have a hemisphere in which you have these type of destabilizing acts and acts that obviously undermine the rule of law and at the same time undermine our democracy. We're happy that the coup d'etat failed and that at least we're in a position now to reflect on it and to condemn it. And it's also important for us as hemispheric leaders, as partners, brothers and sisters in ALBA, for us to continue to work with each other and to stand with each other against these threats that may arise from time to time. And, you know, these nefarious actors need to know that, you know, governments within the ALBA group, we are standing in solidarity with each other. So arising from this meeting, I'm quite sure that there will be a statement, a very strong statement condemning the actions that were taken by the elements or let's say units within the army, clearly inappropriate and goes against all of the principles on which we stand. And I just want to take this opportunity to reassure President Arce that, you know, we stand with you and the people of Bolivia we stand with you as the constitutionally elected leader, and you can be assured of our full and continued support. And we call upon the people of Bolivia to stand up to these gangsters in defense of the democracy. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. President.
So much, Gaston Brown, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaston Brown, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda. Now I'll give the floor to our brother Ambassador Norgel Wilson from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good afternoon to all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I would like to accept the protocol which has been established and to say the government of St. Kitts and Nevis lends its full support to President Luis Arce and his government, which is the legitimately elected government of the plurinational state of Bolivia. We would like to congratulate President Arce for his swift action in suppressing this attempted coup d'etat, and also to very importantly congratulate people of the plurinational state of Bolivia for giving their full support to their legitimately elected government. This is not just a win for Bolivia. We believe that it is a win for all of our brothers and sisters in ALBA. It is a win for democracy, and we strongly condemn the actions of the perpetrators of this coup d'etat. And so, just to repeat once again, the government of St. Christopher and Nevis lends its full support to President Arce and to our brothers and sisters in the ALBA-TCP community for the support which we all give to each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Damos la palabra.
Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor to our brother Ralph Gonzalez, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
No está conectado. My friend Ralph, are you there?
He's not online. Dear friend, are you there?
Bien, damos la palabra entonces al hermano.
Well, now we'll give the floor to our brother Joseph Andal, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Grenada.
Thank you. Am I being heard? Good evening.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman, esteemed President of the Plurinational Republic of Bolivia, other heads of state and government, colleague ministers, ambassadors. Good afternoon to all. First, I wish to place on record Grenada's solidarity with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and all other countries affected by the recent passage of Hurricane Beryl. That hurricane has led to loss of life in Venezuela and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in my own country, Grenada. And I extend on behalf of Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, the government and people of Grenada, sincerest condolences to our brothers and sisters in the countries aforementioned. I also wish to thank profoundly President Maduro and his government and people, President Diaz-Canel and the government and people of Cuba for their immediate and generous offers of assistance as we strive to restore normal life, to restore electricity and other basic services to the people of our country. I take this opportunity to categorically denounce, on behalf of the government and people of Grenada, the attempted coup in the Brother Republic of Bolivia a couple of weeks ago. This we take extremely seriously, and we see it as a frontal attack on democracy and on the rights of the peoples of our region to freely choose their leaders and their mode of governance. In order to ensure that these reactionary forces do not triumph, it is important that we remain constantly vigilant, because historically, those who have plundered our countries have not given up and continue to wish and to desire that they have their feet on our throats so that they can continue to keep the poor and marginalized peoples of our region in subjugation. So it is important that we are always vigilant and we give them no quarter. Sisters and brothers, vigilance must be our watchword. Mobilization of the peoples must be ever present in all of our political actions, because without the people, we cannot do it. And the steadfastness of the people of Bolivia, more than anything else, was what made the difference between the preservation of the constitutional democratic order and a return to the days of golpismo in South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. President Arce, we stand shoulder to shoulder with you and the people of Bolivia as you continue to forge ahead to build a just and equitable society for the marginalized, the traditionally marginalized people of your country. You can count on the solidarity of Grenada and indeed the solidarity of ALBA. I wish to commend the leadership of ALBA for being very decisive in condemning the attempted coup and in offering full solidarity to the government and people of Bolivia in that time of crisis. It is important that as an alliance, we continue to work together to support each other so that in times of need and crisis, we are there for each other to ensure that the ideals that our forefathers, that Martí, that Bolívar, that Chavez and others have fought for continue to be defended. So once again, we express our solidarity with President Arce, his government and people, and we say, long live the people of Bolivia, long live the people of the ALBA. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joseph Andal, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Grenada. Damos la palabra ahora.
Now I give the floor to our brother Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Your microphone, Ralph. Could you hear me, Ralph?
Are you hearing me?
Now it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Ralph.
very much. Thank you very much. I want to greet all my comrades, all the leaders and representatives of the member states of ALBA-TCP. I'm sorry that when you called on me, I wasn't here. I had to take a call. As you know, the Hurricane Beryl, a Category 4 hurricane, has devastated the 5 southernmost islands of our chain and caused severe damage and destruction on parts of the other islands, including St. Vincent, the main island of St. Vincent. So I'm sorry, I was in and out of the meeting because of some matters of urgency. I want to join with my colleagues who have spoken before, and I want to join certainly with my brother, the president of the plurinational state of Bolivia, my brother, my comrade Luis Arce, in denouncing the attempted coup. In Bolivia, I had spoken to my brother. I had called him in the days immediately after and spoke to him on this matter and expressed the solidarity of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I've spoken about it publicly, denouncing what the revanchists sought to do to overthrow a democratically elected government. And I wrote my comrade Louis in those particular terms. I think that I've read the declaration of this extraordinary summit, And the declaration I support. And I hope that it is passed unanimously. I don't see any reason why anyone should demur from the provisions of this declaration. You know, when a group of persons who have military strength decide that they're going to use force against a democratically elected government, fundamentally, it is not just democracy they're undermining, but it is a disregard for the integrity and the freedom of the men and women who make up a particular state, in this case, the state of Bolivia. The people who voted for Louis, in the privacy, in the secrecy of the ballot, that has to be respected. And when you move against the democratically elected leader, you are in fact moving against every individual in the country, those who voted for Louis and those who did not. Because it is a recognition by members organized in a political entity called the state that we choose our governments, and on the basis of secret ballot, the results in this free and fair election, that they're respected. And anybody who seeks to undermine that, undermining not only democracy and political authority, but disregarding and disrespecting the very people who make up the state of Bolivia. So this presents no difficulty to every person of reasonable mind and temper who hold to certain constitutional values, who hold their certain basic freedoms, and who treasure the responsiveness and the responsibility of democracy. I have been in this business of politics for a long time. And when you have a democratic government elected, and that democratic government is progressive and anti-imperialist, whether by design or not, the actions of the coup plotters are actions designed to prop up imperialism, to strengthen an unequal political economy. And I'm not surprised, therefore, that pro-imperialist governments across the world, including in Latin America, would applaud the coup. Thankfully, there are enough persons in Latin America and in the world, and certainly in ALBA, to join in the denunciation of this anti-democratic, this undemocratic act, and the violence which is inherent in carrying out a coup d'etat. I congratulate the people of Bolivia for coming out to defend their elected president and to defend their government in very much the same way when an attempt was made to overthrow the legitimate democratic government of Hugo Chavez. And the people themselves came out and defended President Chavez defending the Bolivarian revolution. What I'm urging in Bolivia itself is that for all progressive forces in the current situation and as we going forward, to be united, because those who have tried once and failed, persons of a similar mind will try a second time, but they can only be deterred from trying a second time if those who dealt with those who tried to carry out a coup in the first place are punished in accordance with law, and that the progressive forces, the forces for democracy and for freedom and for justice and for anti-imperialism, that those forces be united and we don't have those forces splintered or divided. I applaud to the courage, the personal courage of my comrade Louis for standing up as he did. And I follow this matter very closely, standing up as he did to the bullies in the military, that section of the military who wanted to undermine democracy and to overthrow his government. You have the full support and solidarity of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I dare say of all peace-loving and democratically minded persons the world over. This shouldn't be too long a session because I think we are on the same page, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph, Prime Minister of San Vicente y las Granadinas. Damos la palabra al hermano.
Now we give the floor to our brother Alba Baptiste, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of St. Lucia.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I want to say good evening to the galaxy of intellectuals who have assembled virtually to be in solidarity with the government and people of Bolivia under the leadership of President Luis Arce. St. Lucia fully supports the declaration. And as I say we fully support the declaration, Mr. President, I cannot help but take my journey through the corridors of time and see there that there was a period when many pundits commenting on the Latin American region wrote about political turmoil in that part of our hemisphere. But today, those same individuals and others have expended tremendous intellectual energy in trying to comprehend why our region can export a model of democracy, which does not only see the smooth transition of power, but also the responsible use of that mandate to advance the development of our people under very trying circumstances. Because many embrace in certain parts of the world that free and fair election is democracy. But I have argued that free and fair election is a mere symptom of democracy, as true and real democracy is to test positive for the wise and frugal use of power, or conversely, to test negative for the misuse and abuse of the mandate given via free and fair elections. And undoubtedly, we have made great strides in advancing our model of democracy, and we shall allow no episode to reverse that process. And therefore, we shall condemn in the strongest possible language any attempt to undermine any legitimately elected government in this hemisphere. And we have maintained that posture, whether it was Venezuela or others in our hemisphere, especially when we meet in order fora. And therefore, this evening, I am very happy that we convened that very special summit to deal with this matter, as it demonstrates clearly that we do not allow things to fester. We like to be proactive and take the appropriate action. Having said so, I wish to acknowledge that my Prime Minister could not have been with us virtually because he traveled to Grenada to be in solidarity with the government and people of Grenada as they try to recover from the effects, and from the effects of the hurricane. And undoubtedly, he shall be in further contact with the general himself from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the living Viking, the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez. And so he could not have joined us today. And we are in a region that continue to see visitors of that kind, despite our economic and political troubles. But we are duty bound to always rise above the disasters and continue to navigate and set a course that will ultimately take us to a better place. And this is why we must continue to cooperate and coordinate our activities at that level so that we can move from strength to strength. And I end by something that I usually accentuate in terms of teamwork. An African leader once said that Usain Bolt, the fastest runner in the world, for years, nobody could break the record. But when he ran with 3 other teammates from Jamaica, the relay, the average time for running 100 meters was way below the world record. And so even the fastest man in the world runs faster when he works with a team. And let us continue to keep together. Let us continue to strengthen the internal machinery of our organization so that we are able to navigate the turbulence of the moment together. So, Chairman, thank you for allowing me to make this very brief intervention. And I wish the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada, Martinique, Carriacou, the Grenadines, the very best as they recover from the impact of burial.
Thank you so much, Alba Baptiste, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Damos la palabra ahora al hermano Irving McIntyre, Ministro de Finanzas de la Mancomunidad de Dominica.
Minister of Finance of the Commonwealth of Dominica. You have the floor, sir. Your microphone is off, sir. Turn on your mic, please.
Please turn on your mic.
Your mic is off, sir. You need to turn on your mic.
Could you hear us?
Sir, your microphone is off. You need to turn on your mic. We are not getting you.
Please turn on your microphone. Can you hear us? We cannot hear you.
Intenta hablar. Buenas tardes.
Nicaragua me parece que quiere hablar.
Damos la palabra entonces mientras resolvemos.
Well, while we resolve some technical issues, we're going to give the floor to the representative of Nicaragua. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. President, in representation of our government of the Republic of Nicaragua, Commander Daniel and Vice President Rosario Murillo. We'd like to read the communique of our government. If you allow me, Mr. President, I'm going to read it.
Adelante, por favor.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you. Nicaragua denounces the new attempt of coup d'etat in Bolivia. The Government of Reconciliation for National Unity of Nicaragua, blessed Nicaragua, worthy and always free, denounced to the world the new attempt of coup d'etat underway in Bolivia, where the people again sees the security, peace, and democracy subverted. We denounce the maneuvers and military movements conducted at the heart of the La Paz capital to undermine the efforts of this country to move forward on down their own path based on their own democratic models and in agreement with the aspirations of right to live, creating their own destiny without foreign interventions. From Nicaragua, that have overcome a history of foreign interventions, our solidarity very clear with this sisterly nation. Its President Luis Arce, Vice President Brother David Choquehuanca, and Brother Evo Morales, social leader of these people. This new attempt of coup d'etat will never prevail. This is the communique of our government published on June the 26th, 2024. The Government of Reconciliation, National Unity, the Republic of Nicaragua, signed by the President of the Republic and Rosario Murillo, Vice President of the Republic. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much to the sister nation of Nicaragua. Now we give the floor to Venezuela.
La palabra la tiene el hermano secretario ejecutivo del ALBA.
We give the floor to the Executive Secretary of ALBA-TCP, Jorge Arreaza. Thank you very much, dear President Luis Arce Catacora, and President of Cuba, Brother Miguel Díaz-Canel, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister Gaston Brown, Foreign Ministers, ambassadors. This meeting is extremely important, and if you allow me, President Luis Arce, who was convened this extraordinary meeting of ALBA-TCP, we would like to read the draft communique that will be debated by the heads of state and government. President Nicolás Maduro is coming from the campaign rally in San Cristobal in the Táchira state, and he's going to the airport. And at the airport, he has the place from which he's going to make his address. So in the meantime, we would like to read the declaration. I apologize. I do not know if there is another delegation who would like to take the floor. We had some problems with Dominica. I wonder if they have been able to solve the technical issues. Otherwise, we can then read the draft declaration. Dominica, can you take the floor? Have you solved your problems with the sound system?
Delegation of Dominica, are you ready to speak? Adelante, hermano.
So go ahead, Jorge Arreaza, Secretary General of ALBA. I hope that the technical issues of Dominica could be solved. So the declaration of this 10th Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Governments of ALBA-TCP. We, the heads of state and government, representatives of the ALBA-TCP member countries, meeting on July the 10th, 2024, in an extraordinary virtual session, declare that the last June 26th, in the plurinational state of Bolivia, military troops and artillery assault vehicles under the command of former commander of the Army General José Zúñiga, together with the former commanders of the Air Force, General Aviation Marcelo Segarra, and of the Navy, Rear Admiral Juan Arnes, broke into the Plaza Murillo, the seat of the government in La Paz, with the purpose of staging a coup d'etat and taking control of the government by force of arms, breaking the legitimate constitutional order. That the courageous position of President Luis Arce Catacora, the spontaneous people's mobilization, the announcement of the social movement to stage a national road blockade and an indefinite general strike in defense of the democratically elected government, and the immediate rejection of the international community were the key elements for the defeat of this attempted coup. Our firm rejection of any coup d'etat or attempted coup d'etat in any form whatsoever, as they represent a threat to democracy, to the constitutional order, to social peace, and to the well-being of the people. Our rejection of the position of the President of the Argentine Republic, Javier Milei, who, in view of the undeniable facts and countless evidences emerging from the investigation demonstrating that there was a failed military coup d'etat, continues with his aggressions against the government and people of Bolivia. Our unwavering commitment to the free self-determination and sovereignty of the plurinational state of Bolivia and all of the people, strongly rejecting any form of interference, both overt and covert. In this sense, we decided to reaffirm our commitment and unrestricted support to the constitutional legitimate government of the President of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Luis Arce Catacora. Congratulate President Luis Arce at his people who in a few hours defeated the coup plans. Reaffirmed Latin America and the Caribbean is a zone of peace in which we are committed to eradicate forever the use or threat of the use of force, and where states promote integration and cooperation processes and friendly relations in order to guarantee the greatest possible stability and development. 4. Demand to the government of President Milei to immediately cease the harassment and the aggressions against the legitimate government of Bolivia, as well as offenses against other ALBA-TCP countries. We call the world's attention to the fact that the Argentine president deploys a policy with imperialist leanings towards a progressive and leftist government which only encourage hatred, polarization, destabilization of dignified and sovereign peoples. We denounce that within the framework of the hybrid war, a brutal media and social network war, systematic harassment, economic blockade, and diverse forms of political aggression are being deployed aimed at discrediting the government of President Arce and creating the conditions for a larger scale intervention and the shortening of his constitutional term in office. Express the greatest solidarity with President Luis Arce and other public servants that has been the target of smear campaigns by right-wing political sectors. Urge the ambassadors of the ALBA-TCP member countries around the world to develop a campaign of information dissemination of the truth about what is happening in the plurinational state of Bolivia and the threats it faces. Call upon social movements, workers, students, peasants, indigenous peoples, and intellectuals to continue to be vigilant in order to inform the whole world about the dangers that threaten the constitutional order and the democracy of the plurinational state of Bolivia, together in solid unity, which is fundamental for the preservation and progress of the social changes of that beloved nation, and also for the unity and defense of our America. Confirm our regional commitment to the defense of the sovereignty on the strategic resources existing in our territories, a reason for the ambition of foreign interests alien to our regional reality and perpetrators of subversive destabilization campaigns on coup d'etats. Reaffirm the ALBA-TCP will continue to promote the defense of the strategic resources existing in our America for the voracious intentions of foreign forces, as well as the promotion of unity, integration, solidarity, and peaceful coexistence, an expression of the Latin American and Caribbean ideal, and commitment to the construction of a region and a world of peace as a fundamental basis for consolidating sustainable development and harmonious relations among peoples. This is President Arce, this draft declaration of the 10th Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government of ALBA-TCP. Thank you, Brother Jorge Raza, Secretary General of ALBA-TCP. We welcome and give the floor to Brother Nicolas Maduro, President of the sisterly nation of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Good afternoon, brothers and President Lucho Arce, and greetings to Bolivia. Diaz Canel, I can see you in Havana. Greetings to you and all the brothers of the Bolivarian Alliance of the Peoples of Our America. We are today in the Venezuelan Andes. We are in the border state with Colombia, Táchira, and I was following very closely the various interventions of President Lucho Arce and discussing the attempted coup that occurred 2 weeks ago. And this confirms the permanent conspiracy against the autonomous and progressive governments of process of direct democracy, trying to find ways to undermine these processes. They continue trying to harass and damage these free countries. I remember we were in Barquisimeto, and we were surprised by the news of this attempted coup. And immediately we called President Lucho Arce, and we spoke to him, and through Telesur, once again, Telesur telling the truth and denouncing the attempted coup in Bolivia. And showing the people defending its democracy, like in Paraguay, in Ecuador, when they tried to assassinate Rafael Correa. Same thing with the coup d'etat 2019 against President Evo Morales. And also, in the same way, happened was a quick action. The coup leaders arrived with the tank, and President Lucho Arce, with his team, confronted them courageously. Immediately, the people of La Paz and El Alto took to the streets to demonstrate their courage to defend their right to democracy. It happened very quickly, a lightning reaction. And immediately.
Uh,
We read the report given by President Arce, and now all the secrets of this conspiracy are being revealed. There was a betrayal, and it was confronted in a courageous manner. Venezuela say, we are so proud of the Bolivian people, of their courage, the power, the strength, and reacted quickly to stop this aggression. The president of CELAC, President Lula, who went to Bolivia yesterday. So we will also be able to defend our sovereignty and our democracy and the right of our peoples to freedom, justice, and progress. There are permanent conspiracies. This victory of the people of Bolivia strengthened the path of ALBA, of the progressive government, the right to peace, to stability, development. There is a global conspiracy, economic onslaught against Bolivia. And I told President Lucho, after the victory attained, I told him, the economic war against you is very similar to the one we suffered. To starve the people, to undermine democracy, economic warfare, sanctions, persecutions. But here we are, standing firm. And we are getting ready for a great victory. The extremist right, the Venezuelan right, applauded the attempted coup in Bolivia. This extremist right is now defending the decrepit old guy. This decrepit right that applauded the attempted coup in Bolivia, that is applauding the president of Argentina. So they are already shouting fraud. They are attacking the electoral authorities in Venezuela. But that the people in Latin America will defeat them, and there will be a great victory of all our peoples. So I was in Táchira state. Perhaps you don't know this state. This state was plagued by Colombian paramilitaries and violence was rife. They wanted to separate the state from Venezuela with violence. Today, it is a safe and peaceful state, and I can tell you from the Táchira state, I can tell to my brothers and sisters of ALBA, I give you all the support of the Venezuelan people to the safe path of ALBA and the struggle that we are waging. And Bolivia has given an example of honor and capacity of response. I vote with my two hands in favor of this powerful declaration of this ALBA-TCP. I'm sorry for getting late, but I'm working very hard in this election. Next, I'm going to the hometown of Hugo Chavez, Barinas, so to victory forever and a lot of strength. Thank you very much, Brother Nicolas Maduro, President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
President Nicolás Maduro of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. I would not like to omit and to send our solidarity from Bolivia to all the countries who are suffering the adverse effects of Hurricane Beryl, our brothers and sisters from Grenada, Ralph Gonzalez from Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, and our brothers and sisters from Jamaica. To all of them, our solidarity in this, which is already becoming a constant provoked by the climate crisis. A few minutes ago, we listened to our brother Jorge Arreaza, who read the draft declaration of this 10th Extraordinary Summit.
Dominica, ¿puede hablar Dominica?
Dominica, do you want the floor?
Can you hear me?
Dominica.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Sorry for the little discrepancies.
Disculpa por los problemas técnicos que tuvimos anteriormente.
Let me first,
En primer lugar, Presidente Arce, me gustaría aprovechar esta oportunidad para, en nombre, bueno, primero quisiera disculparme en nombre del primer ministro Roosevelt Skerrit, que se encuentra ocupado fuera del país. Me gustaría expresar mis más profundas condolencias por las pérdidas que han sufrido nuestras hermanas islas debido al huracán Beryl que pasó recientemente. Pero sobre el tema que nos concierne, nosotros también quisiéramos reconocer a todos los jefes de Estado, sus excelencias, primeros ministros y ministros de Asuntos Exteriores. Nos gustaría expresar nuestra solidaridad con el pueblo de Bolivia por el evento que ocurrió apenas hace 2 semanas, el golpe de Estado o el intento de golpe de Estado. Evidentemente, sabemos que este es un gobierno que fue democráticamente electo en 2020 y sabemos cuál era la situación antes de esto. Sabemos que no ha sido un periodo fácil para este gobierno democráticamente electo, porque tuvo que luchar contra la crisis causada por el COVID, también tuvo las repercusiones de la guerra en Ucrania, pero este gobierno permaneció fuerte. Y aparte de estos efectos externos, también tuvieron que luchar contra ciertas acciones nacionales, internas, pero siempre permanecieron firmes. Y la fuerza de ustedes es la fortaleza de su pueblo. Su pueblo lo apoya. Y por eso el gobierno de Bolivia pudo ser capaz de resistir mientras que algunos trataron de desestabilizarlos. Pero nada puede desestabilizar al gobierno de Bolivia, al Estado de Bolivia. Sabemos que como unidad, como grupo, tenemos que ser muy vigilantes, tenemos que permanecer atentos y tenemos que permanecer solidarios entre nosotros, de tal manera que podamos apoyarnos en este tipo de situaciones. Esa es nuestra fortaleza, es la fortaleza que tenemos como grupo. Puede estar seguro de que Dominica apoya plenamente esta declaración y que queremos agradecerle a aquellos que han organizado esta cumbre. Nos parece una cumbre sumamente importante en la que podemos reunirnos, expresar nuestra solidaridad con nuestros hermanos y en el futuro puede estar seguro de que cuenta con nuestro apoyo porque siempre estaremos ayudando a nuestros amigos que lo necesitan. Debemos permanecer juntos unidos como grupo, porque sabemos que hay fuerzas que nos atacan, pero esa es nuestra fortaleza, si permanecemos unidos. Apoyamos plenamente la declaración.
You can rest assured, President,
Y no tenga duda, señor presidente, de que lucharemos porque se cumpla cada uno de los postulados de la declaración y estaremos siempre en solidaridad. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Entendemos
Thank you very much. We understand that there are no objections or additional comments. Therefore, we consider that this declaration has been adopted in this 10th Extraordinary Summit of ALBA-TCP. We would like to thank you to all of you for your solidarity, the solidarity that you have always expressed as members of ALBA-TCP. ALBA continues to be a mechanism that is going to defend us from those who want to undermine the democratic foundations of our countries. Regional unity is the only instrument that we have to defend ourselves in the face of external threats and internal threats to democratically elected governments, progressive governments that want to achieve greater equality within our society. I would like to thank and to embrace all of you. I would like to reiterate our solidarity with our brothers and sisters of the Caribbean who are facing the consequences of the hurricane, and we will always stand firm to defend our democracy, to defend the principles of ALBA-TCP and all the principles that govern rationality between human beings. Thank you very much. And with this, we conclude today's meeting. Thank you very much.